Page 82, Sunshine on My Shoulders. This piece looks just downright ugly, don't it? But tear it up. It's not that bad, okay? I normally talk about the right hand first, but in this piece I'm going to talk about the left hand first, since it starts, the first two measures are left hand only. And once you establish that left hand pattern, then it's really not so bad. You can focus on the right hand, okay? And what we have in the left hand is simply 2/8 notes, quarter note, 2/8 notes, quarter note. So it's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So it's not that bad. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, right? Don't play triplets. That is not what's written, okay? Be careful on that. Get the rhythm correctly in the left hand. The left hand is kind of your trap set, your percussion, your beat. The beat goes on. So just keep that steady and keep those eighth notes steady. We're not swinging the eighth notes. You don't play them uneven here. They're right there. On page 82, it's the fourth line down the last measure. In the left hand, right? Okay, you have this, and then it goes to D. And then in the last line, it's changing a little bit. This happens in other spots too. As long as you're aware of it, you'll be fine. When it's changing by a note like that, try and do it without looking at the keyboard. It's not that hard. And that pretty much takes care of the left hand. Let's get to the right hand. The right hand, you've got various rhythms. Like right at the beginning there in the third measure when the right hand comes in. You've got ties in there, okay? If you're getting confused, take out the tie temporarily and play all the notes. Okay, then once you can get it that way, put the ties back in. 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3. Once you get that, that's actually the rhythm through most of it. I mean, it's very repetitive actually. I mean, the rhythm does change a little bit, but not that much. For instance, take a look at the top of page 83 in the right hand. You've got quarter notes there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1. If you just count it out very slowly, very carefully, you'll get it all in there. And that's what you got to do. Work it out one hand at a time until you got it. Play it with me one hand at a time until you got it. I'm going to play it really, really, really slow because it's important that you get the notes and the rhythm first. Then you can start really getting to know it and, making it your interpretation. As far as the pedaling goes, they're indicating overlapping pedaling. If you look in the first line on page 82, the pedaling at the end of the line, it says ped simile. There's a note there. It means just keep pedaling in the same way you've been pedaling. And that's all the pedaling you get until the end there, the last few measures at the coda, and it's still overlapping pedaling. So what they're saying is pedal it overlapping every 2 beats, okay? So it's overlapping means you change the pedal after you play the note. So at the beginning I'm going to play that first C, the first note, and then I'm going to push the pedal down. And then when I change it on the third beat, I'm going to play the C first, and then I'm going to lift the pedal up and put it right back down. It's okay. Takes some practice to coordinate that. Now on the third line down, they do give you a little pedaling because it's a little bit different. In the second measure, they don't want you to pedal the second measure. And it's right because it would make it too blurry. Then you start pedaling again. At the top of page 83, again, they give you pedaling there for those, and it's the same thing that you had before on 82 where you don't pedal the last measure. In fact, the measure right before you're pedaling the whole measure. You don't change it halfway through, but it's the same as what was on before. So there really isn't any real surprises in here. Once you figure out the rhythm and the pattern, it's pretty repetitive. In that last measure of the coda, that's a rolled chord, that arpeggio, that squiggly line. So we're going to play those notes one at a time, starting with the bottom note fairly quickly. And I'm going to play that bottom note on the beat. And I'm going to hold that for 8 counts because it has a fermata. Then at the end, the pedal and the hands all come up at the same time. Now, on page 83, at the 3rd line down, at the end of it, you see that second time DS al coda. This is different. We've had a DS al coda. They haven't had a second time yet. So what's going on? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'll tell you. Right there, if you look at the end of the line, there's a repeat sign. Okay? Now, normally you don't need a repeat sign because you got a DS that repeats for you. What they're saying to do, because there is a second verse, the words are down there, is first you're going to use the repeat sign and repeat back to the reverse repeat sign at the top of page 82. You see it in the 3rd measure there? It's in the same place as the squiggly do sign, right, for the DS. Isn't that interesting? Then the second time through here, when you get down to the DS, now you're going to, you've used the repeat sign, you're done with that. Now you're going to DS al coda. So the DS means go back to the sign, which is back up there where that reverse repeat sign was. You're going to play to the coda sign. The coda sign is a circle with the crosshairs in it. And that is at the end of the 4th line down on page 82. You see it right there. And when you get to that measure, where the measure in front of that sign, the last measure on the 4th line, play that measure and then immediately go across, it's almost straight across, to the coda and just play the coda. Just keep going, okay? The beat goes on. Don't screw up the beat. That's just got to keep going. So we're going to go from there to there. And then once you get to the coda, you just finish it up. It's interesting. So the first part of this, we're actually going to play 3 times. Won't that be fun? Okay. So let's try this slowly. Goodness sake. I mean slowly, I mean slowly. It's 4/4 time. There's no pickup. It's in C major. There's no sharps or flats unless they stick in some accidentals. I don't see any right offhand. 4/4 time, I'll give you 4 counts. The left hand starts out here. The right hand will come in here. Just as well be ready. Foot's on the pedal. Bring out the melody, right? Okay. You pretty much forget the phrasing because there's overlapping pedal all over. It screws up the phrasing. You can go ahead and lift the hand as if you're going to phrase it, but you're not going to hear the phrasing. Yeah. 1, 2, ready, and go, and. hold, 2,